as we read through the process of constructing the tabernacle, as we do this week and in previous parshas, we find in the text a link between the construction of the tabernacle, the creation of the world, and the making of Shabbat. In the Hebrew this week, we find phrases like, Vayachal Moshe et hamalacha. Moses finished the work. In the case of the tabernacle, they're speaking there. Words which seem to echo in Genesis, Vayachal Elohim et melachto. God finished God's work of creating the universe. In that case, after 6 days of doing the work or labors of creation, and then ceased from that work on the seventh day. In both cases, the labor of creation is described by the word melacha, particular labor or craftsmanship, which in particular we are specifically instructed not to do in order to make Shabbat. Most cases when the word work is used in Hebrew, the word is avodah, or labor. But in these cases, the word is melacha. It's something else. Workmanship, maybe craftsmanship. But the point is, it's melacha, whatever that means. The Torah, speaking in Hebrew, not in English, where we just keep on hearing the word work, the Torah, speaking in Hebrew, does not specify in most cases what labors are not to be done on Shabbat. There are a few specific things that are mentioned, but not most of the rabbinic prescriptions. But the Torah refers to them by the word melacha, suggesting that the tasks we avoid doing on Shabbat to create the holy place in time are based on consideration of the tasks we actually do to create the holy place in space, and which God did to create space and time all together. Again, those things which were done to create the tabernacle and to create the universe are those things you don't do to create Shabbat. As we know, Shabbat features very prominently in Jewish tradition. Great importance is placed upon it. Let me say that again. Great importance is placed upon Shabbat in our tradition. And yet, I suspect most modern Jews, in their heart of hearts, cannot really comprehend why. All so many people really seem to know is that Shabbat is filled with lots of annoying restrictions. But I think we owe it to ourselves to ask, what is going on with Shabbat that our tradition places such an emphasis upon it? This link between Shabbat as structured holiness in time and the tabernacle as structured holiness in space, and both of them as a celebration of the creation of all of space-time, is therefore an important clue for us. Shabbat somehow is about the meaning of all existence, the meaning of everything, which of course is why it would be so extremely important. But how do we mark a commemoration of the meaning of everything? What do we do to commemorate the meaning of everything? I think that is the question we should be asking ourselves when we consider what to do about Shabbat. And again, for me, it's always the question that is so important. I tell people, whenever you're engaging with a tradition that has so many different answers, you have to think about what Abraham Joshua Heschel said. Our tradition provides so many answers, and we've forgotten the questions. Go back to the question. You have to approach tradition like a game of Jeopardy. Jeopardy, you are given the answer. Now what's the question? So what is the question? How do we observe? How do we celebrate the meaning of everything? How do we mark a commemoration about the meaning of everything? That is the question we should be asking ourselves. Shabbat is an ultimate statement to ourselves and to others that we see a sense of purpose in life. That is the story that's told in the Torah. God creates all the world and then stops and is respirited and celebrates. Shabbat is a statement to ourselves and others that we are connected to people and community beyond ourselves. Shabbat is a weekly celebration shared by the entire Jewish people. It is a prominent sign of our covenant with each other and with the divine. When we celebrate Shabbat each week, we can know that we are celebrating Shabbat in the same time as other members of the Jewish community all around the world. We are not alone as we observe the same as they do, say the same prayers, study the same text, all at the same time. We are not alone when we bless our loved ones at the same time each Shabbat, even if our loved ones are geographically far away. In this way, Shabbat connects Jews with each other all around the world on the same day, wherever we are. Shabbat reinforces our sense of connection with each other and reinforces our sense of purpose in who we are. And in my work in the prison and in the nursing home specifically, it seems to become apparent that in order to maintain our spiritual balance in life, it is important that we each hold on to a sense of purpose and a sense of connection. A sense that our life has purpose and meaning helps us to know that we each make a difference in the world, whatever our circumstance. A sense that our life has meaning helps us to know that we really can make a difference. A sense that our life has purpose helps us to know that somehow we can give some shape to the difference we make. And a sense of connection helps us remember that there are others around us that we really do have an impact upon, and who are having an impact upon us, whether we fully realize it or not. We are part of something larger than ourselves, and who we are makes a difference beyond ourselves. The practice of Shabbat helps us on a regular basis to remember this sense of purpose and sense of connection. Abraham Joshua Heschel, who I referred to a few minutes ago, described Shabbat as a palace in time. He pointed out that the Jewish people rarely place great importance on holy places like great cathedrals, but we instead place great emphasis on holy moments in time. He also pointed out that when in the Torah Shabbat is first introduced, it is also the first time in the Torah that the word holy is used. Shabbat does not build great and holy places. Judaism does not build great and holy places in space most of the time. We build great and holy palaces in time. The Torah uses a phrase, la'asot et ha-Shabbat. We even sing it, Vishamru v'nei Yisrael. To la'asot et ha-Shabbat, to literally means to make Shabbat. The way each of us can make Shabbat is by clearing weekday acts away from our lives on that day and filling it with something else. Something which reminds us of the themes and purposes of Shabbat, including a sense of meaning, a purpose, a sense of connection, community, joy, and life. Let us learn to think about Shabbat not as a collection of work restrictions, but as a joyful celebration of purpose and connection. Let us learn to think about Shabbat as a shared weekly celebration of all of life itself, a celebration that all the world needs. And let us together try to figure out ways to bring that joy, celebration, and purpose into our lives and into the life of our people and all the world, and to figure out together how to make Shabbat into just that sort of celebration, not simply a collection of work restrictions. Shabbat Shalom.